In this video, I'm going to talk about 2 strong attraction triggers women respond incredibly positively to, and the second one most guys don't even understand, and I'm going to break it down in this video live. So there was a Tinder experiment that was posted recently on Twitter, and basically it reads, a guy created this fake Tinder profile of a convicted rapist, we will say, as an experiment and got tons of matches from females. Some of his chats screenshots are in the thread. Can any feminist explain this? I'm going to put some of the chats on the screen here, but I'm going to read them for you guys. So the profile of this fake account is called Ray, 23-year-old, somewhat very attractive guy, and the bio is aspiring model, watch out for me in GQ in a couple of years. You should know I've had trouble with the law my whole life. I'm convicted 3 times for rape and once for sexual activity with what I seem to be a minor. But he says, to be fair, she turned 16 like a week later, so it was super unfair, but whatever. And some of the chats are as follows. I'm going to read them for you guys. So this girl actually opens the conversation, which is very rare when it comes to online dating. And she says, hey, when I was 7, I stole a gumball from my corner store and felt guilty for it about it for years. I guess that makes us equally as evil. And he replies, I'm surprised you're still out there roaming the streets after such a heinous crime. We should both be locked up. I don't think I'd mind as long as we're locked up together. And she replies, well, as long as there are handcuffs involved. And she says, ha ha ha, OMG, that was such a crazy thing for me to say, but I'm glad I said it. Are you a native Londoner? She asks. And then she replies that later on down the conversation, what a coincidence. Well, I'm happy you're here for a few days. What are you doing tomorrow night? And she provides her personal details and welcomes a hookup. Another girl again opens up the conversation and says, I can't absolve you of your sins tonight, ? Obviously trying to hook up with him that night. This girl actually says she super liked him, and she opens the conversation again saying, hey, every criminal has the chance to be forgiven, but then again, there is something very attractive about a bad boy. He replies, I think I'd rather be bad than forgiven. And then she responds, the question is, how bad does this bad boy get? And does this bad boy need a naughty girl to keep him bad? Very nice. And then this other girl, again, opens up the conversation. They're waiting no fucking time at all. She says, I hope I don't fall in love with you because I wouldn't know how to explain your criminal behavior to my mother. He probably will fuck her mother as well. She would want him to. But this one, guys, is the most shocking one. This girl actually wants him to take her virginity. So let me read it for you guys. She opens again the conversation saying, hey, are you all right? Ha ha ha. I'm not here for long, so I'm just looking for someone to take my virginity. Can't come home still being a virgin. I'm not actually 19. Sorry, I'm quite straightforward. And then he asks, how old are you and how long are you here for? And she provides her name, which is blocked here for reasonable doubt. And she says, so I've been in London for a bit more than 9 months now, but I will have to go back home soon, like in 2 months' time. Well, I'm not as innocent as I pretend to be. We got there, but I just never dared to do it in the end. And he asks, you dare to do it now? She replies, yes, I do. And he asks for her number, and obviously she does provide her number. Right, let's break it down here psychologically, guys. What's going on? Why is he getting such good response, even though he's such a dangerous guy? There is no doubt that obviously women respond very well to very handsome, attractive men. To many of you guys, it will come as a surprise that they are head over heel over this guy who pretends to obviously be a rapist and has been convicted of crimes. It's not usually what you would expect from women because, you know, we're being told women need to be safe and they're princesses, and virgins definitely don't hook up with strangers, which I firsthand can tell you that's not true because I've hooked up with many virgins and it's not what you think it is. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Hibristophilia. Hibristophilia is basically the concept of women being turned on and attracted to men who break the law. Well, it's not just specifically breaking the law, you know, deep down on a primal level, but by definition, that's what Hibristophilia means. Psychologically, what it is, I'm going to break it down to you guys. Breaking the law and getting away with it, this is the key word, getting away with it is essentially a display of competence / an honest signal. Let me explain. The reason why this is attractive for women is because women want men who are exceptional, and they always go for the guy that they can, the best guy that they can get. Now, if you're a guy who breaks the law and gets away with it, you are part of 1.1% of men, right? Not many guys. I can't just break the law and get away with it. You can't just break the law and get away with it. So if one of us breaks the law and gets away with it, right? That's the first concept. You stand out from 99.9% of men out there. And by default, that makes you more attractive. Because you have done something that so many guys are unable to do, you are more special, you are more attractive. Because it's a competent thing. It's a display of competence. And the fact that you're breaking the law, which is something very, very hard to do, and you get away with it, it's a honest signal. You can't fake it. You can't commit a crime and just fake getting away with it, right? And this is why women are very attracted to guys who commit crimes and drug dealers and criminals, is because they even though they take risks, and a lot of the time these risks are stupid, but because they take those stupid risks and there is high consequences to them, and they get away with it until they don't. But whilst they're getting away with it, that is extremely attractive to women. And this is why they go after the guys who are essentially outlaws and who do things that most guys don't do, because you stand out. It makes them stand out. This is a concept that can be linked to war brides. War brides is basically back in the days when, wars were happening, tribes were going to war with other tribes. The winning tribe will use the women of the losing tribe as breeders. They will basically get them pregnant. The guys will fuck the women from the other tribes and get them pregnant to make more babies, to make more, to get more offsprings. And women have developed throughout the years to basically just be breeders. That's how women have been conditioned to be, because otherwise, if they don't accept becoming breeders to the new tribe, the winning tribe, well, they will die, basically. So being submissive in terms of the history of women has become basically a survival process, a survival tactic, because they can't defend themselves, they can't fight, they're not as strong as men. So the only thing that they can do is basically breed babies. And this is how women, to an extent, you could say, have been conditioned to go for the guys who are, the winning guys, the guys who are dangerous and get away with it and kill people and do grapes and things like this. Because over the past few years, that's how the world has functioned. Men go to war, tribes go to war, they kill the men, they recruit the younger guys to fight for the winning side, and they use women as breeders. And you could say that this is how women have been conditioned. Another example is Charles Manson, who's a very small guy, very skinny guy, who was essentially the leader of a cult. And he had women joining his cult and falling in love with him and wanting to have his babies. And he's had many babies with many different women, and he's committed heinous crimes. I think he's murdered people and stuff like this. There is a whole Netflix show about it. And he ended up in jail. And a lot of the inmates were talking about him as being a very, physically unimpressive guy. But he was an outlaw, and he was very charismatic. And women were sending him love letters. They were sending him panties. They were wanting to be, his baby mothers and things like this. So there is definitely something about being a criminal, being an outlaw, and getting away with it to some extent that is very attractive to women. And again, it can be linked to war brides concept, or it's also called Hibristophilia. Another thing that I want to talk about, which is quite specific to this this Tinder account, it's preselection. When you see in the bio that he says he has taken the virginity, where he has had sex with a girl that's not of the age, then, if she's under 16 or like 16 years old, women will not essentially interpret that as us guys interpret it. If as a man you hear this, you're like, well, you fucked up, bro, you've done something wrong, like this is not right, you should probably definitely pay for it, and even though probably go to jail because of this shit. But women interpret it very differently. Women look at it as a very primal and a very competitive way. So what they think is basically this girl is 16 years old, which basically is her prime, right? 16 to 25, 23 is the prime of a woman. She's the most beautiful, she's the most pure, she's the most fertile, and she decided to give herself to that guy. That's what women are thinking, right? When they read that. They're like, if this 16-year-old, which is her best looking self at her prime, is giving herself to this dude, then this guy must be a good option. He must be worth it. Then me, as a 20, 24, 25, 30-year-old woman, probably not in my prime, I should definitely go for this guy too. Because if a girl that is higher value than me, honestly speaking, A 20-year-old is higher value than a 30-year-old because she's younger and she's just more pure. No guy would want to date a 30-year-old if he could choose a 20-year-old. Then they start thinking, well, if that guy has been chosen by a girl in her prime, then I should definitely choose this guy. It's a competitive thing. It's a survival instinct, right? Women are very primal. They don't work with their logical brain. This is why some guys said, this is why women can't vote. And you can have your own opinions about this. I think you know my opinion is on this subject. But this is the reality of it all, and this is called preselection. This is the concept of preselection. If other women choose you, then other women are more likely to choose you as well. If you walk into a club with a group of hot chicks around you, every other girl is going to be more positively receptive to you. If you walk in with a bunch of girls and then you go and open a girl or say hello to another attractive girl, she is going to smile at you and listen to what you have to say. But if you're just with your boys and you walk up to a bunch of girls or just any attractive girl, she will treat you with a little bit more of a, what the fuck are you doing here? I don't have time for this. You're just kind of another guy hitting on her. So this is the power of preselection. This is why a lot of you guys that go to clubs, I'm like, just don't go to clubs. Like, just go with girls or don't go at all. Girls are the best wingmen that you could ever have. So this is it, guys. It will be very interesting to see if this experiment was done with pictures of a less attractive guy, to see if the less attractive guy would get the same response. I think he will still get some interesting positively response, probably not as much as just a standard profile, but definitely better than you know, not as much as this good-looking guy, but definitely not as bad as just a simple profile. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. It's very interesting to me to see what your point of view is, and maybe I'll make a video about it. But look, if you're a guy that wants to level up in 2026 and you want to improve your dating results and you want to improve your life and your mindset, I've made a free community with a free full 6-hour course inside of it to help you level all aspects of your life. It's in the link down below. That is the natural next step for you to do if you want to level up your life in 2026. In any case, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.